obsessed with the Connie Fife Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Fife Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Fife.
Well, hi, everyone. You're listening to the Connie Fife Show, and I'm Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva. So if you heard a little laughter there, we've already been having a really good time, and the show hasn't even started. Oh my gosh. I love when I have such amazing guests that, that stuff happens in life, and you need to learn how to sometimes not to take it so seriously. But let me just thank you all first by being here and listening to the Connie Fife Show. And as most of you know, we've been off for a few weeks, and that's because we opened a new office, a second office in Pennsylvania. So you could find us now on the East Coast and on the West Coast, because we're doing some really amazing things and we're working with some really amazing people. So to all of our loyal listeners out there, thank you for coming back again and again and again, because our show is designed to be here for you, to help you and work with you to turn your success into a thriving business, because we want you to do that for you. So let's get on to the show. I feel like I know this woman so well. We've been talking about some really, really amazing things. We've been talking about life. We've been talking, about, the shit happens. And we're just going to go right there. So let me introduce her. She has a passion and she has a commitment to leaders and to organization. And it's all reflected in her coaching and her speaking, her workshops, and of course, her writings. If you're an executive, you need to really listen up and you need to stay with us today for this entire show, because you are going to be just thrilled, you're going to be inspired, and you're going to be motivated by this lady, because she does help her teams embrace. She will help you embrace your authentic leadership style and maximize positive impact. And, she's no slouch, and she's got degrees in mathematics, human resources, organizational change. She's got a lot of certifications. I mean, really longer than your arm. And she's also a former officer in the U.S. Army. Now, most people take up hobbies of, knitting. Most people take up hobbies of reading. She has taken up her latest hobby of sculling.
Yes.
Oh, I love her. I don't do sculling. I'm a kayaker, but still on the water. Our guest today in the hot seat, and she certainly knows about leadership. Welcome to the Connie Fife Show, Sue Salvemini. Sue, welcome to the show. And I hope you said
Thank you. You did. You were perfect, and we didn't even talk about that. That's great.
I've been practicing. I've been walking around now. Salvemini. I walked out of my office earlier, and I'm going, Salvemini, and the other ones are out there. Do you need something? Like, no.
I'm going to tell my husband that. I was voyaging pre-marriage, and I took his name. I was looking for a Smith. I was hoping I'd marry a Smith. I got in the S's, but I got Salvemini. But
I got Fife.
Yeah, that.
No.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. It was my father-in-law who I said to him, I'm like, all of these P's and the H's and the F's. I said, no one's going to get that right. And let me tell you, no one ever does.
Yeah, you've got the IE thing. You've got the consonants, the overabundance of consonants. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So same thing. Salvemini. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, this is how we say it. Salvemini. So
yeah.
So
you did great.
I mean, you're just a ball of energy. But so you went from knitting to sculling.
Yes, I do knit. I do have a creative side. I am probably better not knitting because it takes a long time. And other than the basic stitch, I always had to I could never cast on or cast off. So I would just knit, the infamous scarf that never got finished.
Well, if anybody knows what she's talking about, then you're a knitter. My mother, speaking of the in-laws, my mother-in-law was colorblind.
Okay.
And she loved to knit. So every Christmas, we would get a box of purple, green, ivory, pink, blue stockings. And I'd be like, and we still love them.
Well, that's sort of shabby chic, isn't it? Now that's intentional.
Right.
So she was just ahead of her time.
Yeah, she was ahead of her time. So the work that you're doing, I mean, I was looking at that. I mean, you're just incredible. I mean, just such an inspiration. I mean, an officer in the U.S. Army. And I mean, who doesn't know about leadership after doing that? But all of the certifications that you have, and you do a lot of work with Lencioni's work, the 5 dysfunctions of a team. I am a fan of his as well. I mean, I believe every organization should be following that model.
Yeah, he's remarkable. He was, I've read a lot of books. I mean, my whole life and journey, I'm a geek for learning.
Okay.
I love it. I love whenever I'm involved in something, I try to learn as much as I can about it.
Right.
Like the sculling, my poor husband, at 1 a.m. I'm on my iPad reading about how to make my stroke better and not waste water. But that's another interview. But so when I was early in my career out of the military, I was in this sales job with Johnson & Johnson. And I was so concerned that I was behind all of these other people, that they knew business. I was coming out of wearing Army fatigues and, being in the military, which was a very different environment. So I just would, every time I was in my car, I would listen to cassette tapes and books. So I've always been Zig Ziglar, Dale Carnegie, you name it, anything to try to help me learn how to be a better salesperson and understand people more. So fast forward, it was about, oh my goodness, it had to be now about 10 years ago. I have to do it by different roles, but that I came into this 5 dysfunctions of a team Lencioni book. And with all of the authors I've read and all of the books, I read that book and I put it down and I immediately started to email him. It was like the one I said, this book, and the main character in it is this woman, Catherine. I think it's Catherine. And she was a former military officer and she was thrown into this fictitious company that had, and I swear, I was like, this is me. This could be me. And that sounds really silly, but the point is that the book was so impactful for both how I related to the characters, to Catherine, but I was also in a company at the time that I felt I could just identify these players. So I became just passionate about his work. Well, fast forward through the years now, when I started my company a few years ago, and I work with executive teams, and I see that I use his work, and I often will take his workshops and my work, and I morph them to create a customized program. But I think his work is so exceptional. Yes. And I love his books. They're fun to read. They're easy to read. I love
They're easy reads.
Yeah.
They're very concise. Yeah, we have the whole series as well. I say we, my husband too. He's doing a lot of work now in the business. And actually tomorrow we're doing a program. We've pulled a couple different pieces that we've done over the years to make it ours. But a lot of the work we do pull, and even the client that's coming tomorrow, that was their pre-read.
Yes. Yes.
That one and 3 Feet from Gold with read. I'm familiar with that one. 3 Feet from Gold isn't a Lencioni leadership type book, but 3 Feet from Gold is Don't Stop. Right. So keep going. Yes.
But what I love about Lencioni's work is the baseline foundation is trust and building trust.
Yes.
And it works so well with, one, what I've seen and observed. And two, then I take the work that I do and so much of the coaching and even the book I wrote, it's really building that independent, authentic style so that you can build a culture that fosters trust. But it's just beautiful. I love his work. It's great. But I love it because it impacts teams and it helps them be productive. And it's simple and it helps me. It helps me in the work I do because it gives me another resource that just helps people really, really shine and get the job done. At the end of the day, it's about results. So
exactly. It's about, and that's one of the first questions that I do ask when I'm speaking with someone, about results. What are the results that you're looking for? So you're also certified in energy leadership.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
I don't know much about that. So that was something else that I was really curious to learn about.
So part of my certification for coaching. So when I came up with my company and decided I wanted to have this, that my passion was leadership and developing strong leaders. And there's a lot of organizations that do that. And that's awesome. It just shows that there's a huge need for it. And I love it. But part of it was I knew that I wanted to have coaches as part of my organization.
Okay.
Because it's a different approach. So in the true military, don't ask anyone to do anything you wouldn't do.
Right.
I went, although I think that that's a flaw. Anyway, we'll talk about. So I pursued a coaching, degree or certification. And so I went through IPEC, the Institution for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And one of their tools that they use and that they train us in is energy leadership. So what it is it's essentially this model that, so we've all had assessments typically in the professional world, whether it's DISC, D-I-S-C, whether it's Myers-Briggs, Hogan. There's a lot of incredible assessments that help individuals and leaders get sort of a snapshot view of who they are, how they operate, how to maximize that, how to work with people that are not like them. And really, it gives a great pathway for people to constantly learn more about themselves and improve. I've had so many assessments. I love them. I've gleaned so much from them. But truthfully, I could probably tell you who I am. So it's sort of like, this is who you are. And I know I typically am X, Y, or Z.
Right.
What was different about this tool?
So energy leadership is a tool.
It's a tool. So there's an energy leadership index assessment that goes along with this whole model. Okay. The energy leadership index assessment is unlike traditional assessments in that it's not a personality assessment.
Okay.
It's an attitudinal assessment. So what it's giving you a snapshot of is how you typically show up, respond, react, and think in a moment.
Okay.
So here's the thing that I love about this, and I have to be honest, I was a math major, I don't want to say I'm a skeptical person, but I keep one foot on the ground solidly before I really will dive in and commit.
Right.
So, in assessments, I think there's great things about many and there's always something. But before I really hung my hat on this particular assessment, I worked with it a fair amount. But here's what's interesting. So it's attitudinal. And the premise behind it is that because it's attitudinal and it's not personality, like this is who you are. This is who you probably have been most of your life. Not that you can't change, but we tend to stay pretty true. That you can change and adjust this on a dime. So this is not an assessment of your future.
Right. How
you will be in the future. This is a snapshot of right now when you get different stimuli, situations, how your brain is default thinking, which then turns to emotion, which then turns to action.
Right.
So if you can click into how you're thinking or receiving it.
Right.
And be aware of that, increase your consciousness. You can change that immediately and then the next follows. So what this index assessment does is it gives you a snapshot of that. And then the whole, the model around it, and a lot of my coaching is centric to this type of work. Now, whether someone takes the assessment or not, it has to do with how my coaching style, which is about working on attitudinally. How are you impacted by what's going on around you? Do you see obstacles as obstacles, or do you see opportunity in them? And if you were to take your vision, do you see things and your vision is limited, or are you able to see the breadth of it? How that translates to leadership and to results is what we found is that when you attitudinally, you tend to see things or get stopped.
Right.
This is your view. So you have this narrow view.
Right.
So you are limiting yourself and those around you with coming up with ideas, solutions, and options. Okay. And when you're here, you're focused on you and you're not listening.
You're not listening.
So you're losing valuable information. So ideally, we all go there. It's not to say don't go there, but it's to help you learn.
It's human, but to learn.
It's to help you learn, okay, what triggered me?
Right.
How do I reframe it? Or how quickly can I reframe it? Because sometimes we need to hang there for a while. Or how is it serving me right now?
Yes.
And what I do is work with people to help really get sharp on what those triggers are so that they can use that knowledge to put them in a productive state of mind and see opportunity. So I use the assessment with not all of my clients. It depends. I still am very customized. It depends on what I feel where they're going. However, what I can tell you is I love it. I love the tool, and I love it no matter where you are. It doesn't matter what your title is, how high up you are in an organization formally, or if you're just new in your journey. People resonate, and what the true test is, fast forward, 6 to 12 months.
Right.
People will say, and I've asked them because I'm like, is this the assessment that just went back on the shelf and nobody can remember what? Like they said, I still remember it. I've got catabolic energy right now, and they smile like it's not helping me. I've got to shift. But from an executive and from a senior leader, it really helps me work with my leaders because it helps them become grotesquely and honestly aware of when they're limiting themselves and the team around them, and they have an opportunity to change that immediately. I mean, we'll have a call or a meeting, and within 48 hours, they are already that much more aware, and they'll call me, and they'll be like, you won't believe what happened. I caught it. I shifted. We had options discussed. We came up with solutions. We got to the result. So that's energy leadership. It works on attitudinally. How do you show up?
Okay. Because I'm certified in the Index, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC.
Yes, they're great. No, they're great.
They are, and that's why I was like energy leadership. And then I took one recently that I'm looking at doing, and I took it myself. And that one was based around emotional. I can't. Oh my gosh, the name just went out the window. And it's been around, for some time. And so, of course, I took it. There's, 5 quadrants in this one. And I came back as a divergent.
You could make a movie about that.
I think there could be, yeah. I was like a divergent. So it was interesting. I was it comes out 5 quadrants. They selected the top 4, but all 5 of my quadrants were equally designed.
Yes. Well, we try, don't we? We try to like answer the way we want to. We try to figure out what's the best answer.
Because I've done so many, and that's what I said.
I think I want to be right here. Like if I'm in between, that's the safe zone. No, it's a really neat tool, and it's funny. Yeah. I usually do them I'll do individuals like assessment, and I started to do some group ones, and I'm actually contemplating offering that as a service where people can take the assessment and doing a group debrief.
Yes.
For people. It's a little less investment, but people can still get huge benefit because it's been coming up a lot lately. And I'm intrigued.
I used to do them a lot. And again, the one that I use would depend on who the client was. But then I got away from it because I've been really focused on the agency. But I just said to my husband recently, I said, because I still have to do it so I can keep up my license and so forth. I said, maybe I should have each of the talent do one, as they come in the door.
Yeah.
Trying to give me perspective on who they are, and not just help them, but help me as well. Well, thank you for sharing that.
It's a great tool. Bruce Schneider is the brains behind that.
And that one.
From IPEC. So there's not a lot of us that are certified because it's only offered through his program, but it's definitely neat. And I've got some information on my website, which is being overhauled right now, but I'm more than happy to answer questions about it.
Okay. All right. Let's take a really quick break for our sponsors. We'll be right back.
The Connie Five Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Five Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple, Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConnieFifeShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back, and this is Connie Five. And today with me, we definitely have an unstoppable guest, Sue Salvemini. She's certified in energy leadership, index master practitioner, Myers-Briggs DISC. She is a leader of leaders. And I love the work that she's doing, and just phenomenal, Sue. Everything that you are doing. The one thing that you had mentioned, that you love partnering with high level executives who really make it happen. So when you are looking for those leaders that you want to work with, is there a particular type of individual you like to work with, or is it a particular company that you focus on working with?
So it's a great question, and I get asked that a lot, and I still wish I had like this cookie cutter answer.
Yeah.
But so the common denominator in the leaders that I work with in the teams is they are open to reflecting on their own leadership. They believe that they still have great opportunity individually, and they are passionate about taking their companies to a higher level. And they recognize that doesn't just translate to producing more revenue exclusively. So, and I say this, they recognize that it's the people and the culture in the organization that will lead to that outcome. So everyone that I work with is incredibly metrics focused about results, which is key for me because I'm in a field that often can be misconstrued as fluffy.
Yes.
And I'm the first person. So, I do love the love. I promise people we don't have to do trust falls. It's a big joke with some of my executives, like, not a trust fall person. Right. I'm like, no, trust me. No. Your trust fall is the results at the end of the quarter. So, and a lot of the companies I work with are publicly traded. So they're pretty visible on the stock exchange. But the point is that the leaders I work with, they tend to be a little bit more cutting edge in their ways, that they are picking up different, they're listening to podcasts, or they're tapping into successful leaders and entrepreneurs around them. And so they are open to sitting down and really creating what they need for their team. And that's why I like it, because I've never run the same program twice. I don't. And my specialty is not, I don't have a menu of, if your team is here, you do this. And I shouldn't say it like that. That sounded like I was condescending to those programs. There's value in them. But the people I work with, it's not a one size fits all. They might have 6 people on their team and trying to grow their executive team to 12. They might have a non-diverse team. That might be all preliminary founders, that all think alike, and they're trying to sort through how to build a team that's more different, but can still function.
Right. So you're really going in there and personalizing, and you're designing a program that's going to fit the needs of them. Like you said, not a cookie cutter approach.
Right.
So I'm not in that space right now, so we're not competing. Although I used to be. So, I totally get everything that you're saying and that you're talking about. So do you find And you mentioned you work at more publicly traded companies. Do you find that there's more pushback on a private company versus working with a publicly traded company?
Pushback in that they aren't interested in coaching, or
that they're not interested, that they're not as open, that, like you were saying, you want to work with people who are open and willing to be futurists, forward thinking, and looking for new opportunities. And I found that private companies, privately owned companies, weren't as willing or not as open.
Well, I think it's more the people behind it, because I work with some private companies. I work with private individuals. I work with nonprofits and sort of, VC funded startups as well. It really comes down to directionally
really
how eager the individual or the board, because executive VCs will bring me on to work with a new CEO.
Right.
To just sort of help give some support and space for that, for that leader. So it's more about that the individuals recognize that people are their number one resource and the team. So what happens is, and I'm sure you've seen this, the people I'm working with are highly successful. These are not slackers. And they have achieved much. And they are go-getters. And so many of them, you might think, would perceive that they would have no value from a coach. But here's what's interesting. As people climb the infamous corporate ladder, the higher they go, the fewer people there are to talk to.
Exactly.
And what's fun about what I do now, and I used to do a fair amount of consulting from the sales and marketing commercialization, and I still do a little bit here and there. I'll get called in to help provide, quote, for lack of a better word, my experience or expertise in a space. Coaching is totally different. When I'm working with an individual, the presumption is that, and I believe this, there is no one that knows that person better than them. And they are where they are because of lots of things they've done so well.
Yes.
And usually what's happening is there is an opportunity that they might be getting in their own way to do even more. Or they might be in a newer situation where they have a colleague at the executive level that they don't see eye to eye with. So it starts to inhibit their ability to really be a great leader.
Well, that's
it's a ripple effect of sometimes negativity or the reverse. So I'm trying to help these individuals really come together.
Right.
And I know it sounds trite and I don't mean it this way, but play nice in the sandbox.
No, I know.
All
I get
exceptional.
What you're saying. Yes, because they're
all excellent. They are phenomenal people. And I'm so blessed because I get to see them all. I see them as a group. So I usually am brought in and I work with them as a group.
Right.
And then I'll also work one-on-one with them, which somebody might say, how can you do that? But because when I'm with someone individually, I don't hear the names or the noise of the other. I'm tapped into what's going on with them and how might they be getting in their way right now.
Yeah.
And then I might move to the next person. And again, it's not the stuff in the coaching world, we call it what's in the box. We don't pay attention to that. It's what's showing up for that person. And all I do is reflect and ask them some questions to help them think.
Right.
And they come up with profound, but they self-solve. And that's why it's so impactful. And that's why it's so funny. So when I went to get certified as a coach, the intention, it's sort of silly, wasn't necessarily that I would coach, because I was getting called in to consult people on sales strategies and marketing, right?
Right.
But the coaching experience was so impactful. And I saw how people changed, and it wasn't like a short-term change. It wasn't like I'll go out and run for a month and then stop.
Right.
Once you start to help people become more aware of what gets in their way and help them move beyond it, it's permanent. Yes. They don't unlearn that. And so my ability individually to help somebody grow was exponentially improved. I use that word a lot, exponential. It's the math in me. But it really is. It's like, it's not this linear. It just sort of goes and grows.
Yes. And I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, like I said, I'm not stepping in companies. My sweet spot was nonprofits associations because I come from that space. But, they'll call me back as a mentor.
Yes.
And to, like you said, to give them that space. And I actually had a situation where it was a new board chair and the individual, the CEO of the company, and they were clashing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the rest of the board of directors who had brought me in to help them work out some of the play nice in the sandbox, because the CEO had thrived for a number of years and the new CEO comes in and wanted to make changes. So again, we don't need to go into the specifics, but the conflict of that. Yeah. And a lot of times you need to bring somebody in from the outside just to be that negotiator. So everybody can, can play nice and can come together. We need to keep going. I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, we need to keep going.
This will be the 4-part series, listeners.
That's right. That's right. This will be to be continued. So Sue, I always ask everybody this, and I think we already know the answer. What makes you unstoppable?
Oh gosh. Well, it's so funny. I can't not say it because it's just, I have a huge faith and a huge source that's much bigger than me. It gives me unstoppable energy, vision, and stamina.
Okay.
I don't think that's my human self. I just don't. Because I get super excited about seeing people love what they do.
Yes.
And I'm passionate about, I love work, and I love work because I've had the great opportunity to love my work. And I've been able to love my work because I've worked for remarkable leaders
themselves.
And so, and I haven't had a lot of instances, but I've had some where it hasn't been that way. And I'm unstoppable because my vision is so clear. And my passion around creating workspaces that people thrive in.
Right.
That they can thrive in by being themselves. So I'm so committed to that because I really think people are great. And I think, I truly hate that people undervalue themselves. And that they don't always know.
And I need to have a glass of wine.
They don't know. And this isn't just fluffy. And I know it sounds fluffy and all that. And I guess there's an element of it. But it's so I believe that I really believe that whether you agree or not, I'm not trying to get religious, but I believe that God has made each one of us with some miraculous opportunity inside of us. And whether your faith is there or not, that's not what this is about right now. It's about what fuels my passion to do this.
This is about you.
And so because I believe that, I'm so committed to helping individuals really tap into what's uniquely different and perfect. And I use the term perfectly imperfect because I love that, because we are all perfectly imperfect. There's always a way to improve. But to embrace that and just thrive in their own space of being strong with what makes them strong, improving wherever they're giddy or passionate about improving. And I feel that if and this is the big million-mile view, if everyone could really just be super excited about who they are and know that everyone around them is equally as gifted, that you don't need to be alike, then I think I think people would enjoy their days and their life more, but they would love going to work because they would thrive and they would help others thrive by creating that space around themselves. And it's sort of what my book is about, is just like, it starts with you. And then there's this massive, Newton's cradle ripple effect about how it can't not impact and influence those around you. So I'm unstoppable because I'm super passionate about this. And I have I'm completely aligned with my core values. I have a very crystal clear, vivid vision. And I feel that I have a much bigger power. So I'm sort of like faithful. I have a huge faith, but because of my faith, I feel fearless in this quest.
I love that. I definitely, we're definitely sisters in faith. I do want to talk about your book because the next thing I wanted to talk about Leadership by Choice, 7 Keys for Maximizing Your Impact and Influence in the Workplace. The writings, and I was sharing with you earlier, your book, your reflection journal, it's beautiful from the cover to the inside, the writings, the book, the language. There are so many takeaways in your book. And, for all of our listeners out there, you really need to grab a copy of this, Leadership by Choice by Sue Salvemini. I'm sorry, my phone just rang. Just love everything that you're doing. So, and I know that we can continue this, and I know that we can probably take it to four episodes, but we can't. Because there's just so much more that I would love to talk about, and I'd love to chat with you. So as we're parting here, 5 hours later, what parting words do you have for our listeners, and also let them know where they can find you?
Sure. So the parting words are, first of all, there's something burning. There's some burning desire inside of you that you're not going after. And I'm going to say at work. And my question for you is, what's really holding you back? And what if I told you failure isn't an option? And if you could remove the fear of failure or the thought that it might not work out, how might that change your decisions to make that burning desire a reality?
I love that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are always welcome back.
Thanks, Connie.
We'll need to get you here to do a live show with us.
Yes.
Well, that is all we have for today. And again, dear thank you to Sue Salvemini, and make sure that you get a copy of her book. Definitely want to get a copy of her book. And I'm just like lost for words. I don't know where am I going at? Okay, we need to close.
All good.
It's all good. It's all good. So if you want to be doing some advertising with us on the Connie 5 Show, just visit theconnie5show.com for details. And if you haven't checked out our agency yet, please do. We have a phenomenal branding publicist team, schedulers for speakers. We have 2 offices now, one in Los Angeles and one in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, as they call it. We are working with the world's most daring minds who are keeping the passion of life activated. We are Talent Concierge, and earlier this year, we were named the agency with heart because we are disrupting the industry. So we found that magic formula, and we're doing something right. So make sure you check it out at talentconcierge.co. So I'm going to leave you with this simple thought for today, which is leadership is not a position or a title. It is an action. So take some action today. You're listening to The Connie 5 Show. And until next time, keep moving those ideas forward because we are unstoppable together.
Hey, y'all, it's Connie 5. Thank you for listening to The Connie 5 Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconnie5show.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.